Okay, our topic for today is one that we really like talking about. And that's that one where, and I don't know about you, but I've had a few clients recently bring this up again, but that is, I'm working so hard and I just can't see the profit or the cash. Or, I don't know, I feel like there should be a lot more cash in the bank account and I just can't see it.
Or they feel as though they're working for nothing.
Or they feel like they're working for nothing.
Which is dreadful.
I'm working 7 days a week. I have never had more work. I've got all these guys working for me, 3-4 staff, and yet where is that money?
Exactly.
And often we talk about profit and cash flow and how we all get mixed up in that as well, right?
Right.
It's a tricky thing, isn't it? It's not something it's something you got to learn how to deal with in small business, and it's often stuff that we don't know, right?
Exactly.
So welcome to our podcast. This is Kay, and you're with Kay and Crystal, and we're Small Business Sorted, and we help take the chaos and get more clarity in what happens in small business.
And if you're running a small business and thinking, this is really harder than it should be, you're in the right place.
Yes, we're in the right place, aren't we, Kay? And look, how long have we been doing this for? A long time, haven't we?
We've been doing it for a while.
Yes.
You maybe longer than I have.
Maybe a bit longer, yeah. And but we've shared many stories between us and have quite a lot of experience on all of these things that people feel. So the story that I was thinking about that is really top of mind for me is that I actually did have a client in last week, and they were talking about how they've been working. Like he said, I've never been busier and I've never had more staff. I feel like I'm invoicing really well and I feel like I'm in a really great place. But every time I look at my bank account, I just can't see where the money is. And, you know, the feeling of dejection and the feeling of not failure, but like, what am I missing? You know, like, I don't get it. Like, why does this have to be so damn hard? And it just sort of, it's such a great topic, and there's so many nuances to it that it's really hard to, so I get, you know, I just sort of said, okay, where do we start? Yeah. You know, like, let's have a look.
It helps to look at your numbers. You might be feeling as though you're really busy and feeling, well, you'll know if you've got cash in the bank, but you may not know if your business is profitable. So the important thing is to have some kind of a system for recording your sales, expenses, and then you can really look and see how well your business is doing. It may not be doing well.
Yeah.
But it may be doing really
well.
But
that's an interesting thing, because I think I come across so many people that don't have, like, okay, let's call it zero. It could be QuickBooks or whatever. Definitely not MyOp. I'm not a MyOp fan. But let's say zero for this one, right? And I often say, well, how are we going with tracking everything, right? And then so often that's the place I would start and say, look, we need real figures to get real clarity in it, right? So... and I think knowing your numbers, as you say, and having that clarity is important. But how do you get that to that level of place where your numbers have to be really good, right? So then you can start to understand.
You have to keep them up to date.
You have to keep them up to date.
There's no point in having numbers that are old, outdated.
Or if you're doing it yourself and you don't know what you're doing.
True. If you don't know what you're doing as well, that can be a bit of a problem.
Could be a problem.
But you definitely need to keep them up to date. A lot of people can do it themselves.
Yeah.
A lot of people don't or don't want to.
Yeah.
That's entirely up to you and how capable you feel. Often it's better than
I think it's accuracy that you're looking for more than anything, right? So that when you got to feel like, I know many clients don't feel like they could trust their numbers, and they go, I don't know, I look at this profit and loss doesn't seem real to me, or I don't know, it doesn't look right, or whatever. And then that's probably a really good place to start, to have a look at, are your sales right for that month? Yeah. And I guess knowing what your figures are and you feel that your figures are accurate, then we can start looking at why is the cash not there, right?
Exactly. Then we can look at,
because unless you don't have that, you don't know what you're looking at, do you? I mean, you're all guessing everything, and I just all have it in your head, or you think you're doing better than what you are, or whatever it is.
Another reason for not having enough cash, and I hate to say it, is a lot of small business owners, especially sole traders, will take money out of their business.
What, like the
account.
drawings?
Yes, for personal use.
What is that all about? I had someone say to me the other day that I don't do wages because I'm not a PTY
Correct.
Limited. I have to take it out as drawings.
They do, correct.
But then guess what? That's not showing on your P&L, right?
No, you have to look at your drawings account on the balance sheet.
That's right.
But
So
we're
when
getting-
you talk balance sheet and profit and loss, then everybody's eyes glaze over, right?
Yeah, exactly.
Even I go, oh God, now I've got to go find the balance sheet. Jeez. And often balance sheets aren't always as accurate as you'd like. And also it's only showing you the amount that's there now. There's no record or history in it.
When I'm talking about drawings, though, I'm talking about, yes, you can take a wage.
You could put wages
As a
on your
sole-
P&L,
as a sole-
can't you?
You could do it that
I mean,
way
the
if you
accountant
want.
just takes
Yes,
it
you
all
can do it
as
that
as
way. It's probably
drawings.
not a bad idea to do that.
Yeah, to
But
track it.
What I'm saying is people will go to a restaurant and use the money.
And use the same
All
card.
that money is coming out of the cash in your business. So if you feel like you've got no money in the business and no cash, please don't take money out of the business for things like that.
How many transactions did you see go?
And the other thing is, I'm going to get, yes, you've got hit one of my pain points as a bookkeeper. It also, there's more transactions going through that bank account. It's actually a headache for a bookkeeper
Yeah,
to
to put it
see all those
to
transactions
personal.
because we
So
sort of
what's
go,
the answer?
Don't do it.
Well, or get a business credit card, right?
Yeah,
Or use a
but-
different card for.
Yes. Well,
Have a
no,
personal
transfer-
account and then have a business account. Do you
Or
reckon?
have a personal account, a business account, transfer money as wages to your personal account, and then
account.
spend it out of there, and don't have that account.
And
linked.
then that sorts out the business, how much is in the
Yes.
business and how much is in your personal
Yes.
way. And then you can start to budget a bit better on
Yes,
both,
yes.
right?
Now, I'm going to broach a subject that you always broach.
What's
The subject of what you call cashies, which you
Oh,
know
gosh.
I hate. But
But it's
could
a
also-
reality that it
could
does
also-
happen, right?
Yeah.
I mean, we can't hide
It
around
can also
it.
be a reason you don't have cash in your business because
Yeah.
you're taking money from clients,
Yeah.
allowing them to pay cash and spending it.
Yeah, so let's define cashies, right? Or cash. Taking cash from a client and not depositing it into the business, right?
Correct.
Is kind of what
Yes.
it. So there's no record of that sale actually ever going through. So when you're looking at your figures on your profit and loss, right?
Mm-hmm.
That means your sales figures will be less because that cashier isn't recorded in there.
Correct.
Or if you have recorded it in there and you haven't taken the money, then is that a bad debt? I don't know.
Yeah.
But your sales generally are not recorded, so that means your sales are down.
Right.
So then you're showing less of a profit.
Correct.
Then that money generally doesn't get spent on the business because it's just hot in the pocket, right? So it goes, I don't know, for a beer. It could go for a coffee. It could go for eating out. It could be for lunch.
Yes.
Could be anywhere, right? And how fast does that money go out of there? You
Very
know,
quickly.
really quickly. And then, so I had a client who literally, I don't know, they were doing anyway. They were doing renovations at their house, whatever, and they were taking a lot of cashies out of the business, and then they ran into some really, really, really bad cash flow problems because they had more expenses in their business because of all the materials they were
Well,
buying.
I think this
and
might
paying
be
their
the same
staff.
client that
Maybe it was the same client. But anyway, they got themselves into a really, really, really big trouble. And it took a while for us to work through all of that and then to actually work out exactly how much money was actually should have been in the business that hadn't been taken out, and the business would have been profitable had they not done that. So that was a bit of a reality check as well.
Yeah.
But I think I don't know, cashies is a thing that a lot of people do. It's easy. A lot of people say, "Can I have a discount for cash?"
Yeah.
And so they make it. You go, "Yeah, sure." You know what? 10%. But I think the best way around it is that if you want to be successful in business, good practice is don't do cashies.
No.
Do put them in the business, record them, and bank that money. Go to the bank and put it in. I know it's a hassle, or better still, say, "Nah, look, I don't do cashies." Or if they say, they normally ask, "Do you want it cheaper? Can I get it cheaper?" And just say, look, I pay my GST the same as anybody else, and I've got to pay it anyway, so I really don't. If you want to pay me cash, that's fine, but I would prefer whatever, because that is where people get tripped over all of the time, is those cashies, and then you forget where or you have that money sitting under your bed, right? And then there was a client who actually had a cabin, like a granny flat cabin thing at the back. I don't know how much money he had stashed in under the bed, literally under the bed in a box, and the cabin caught fire.
Oh dear.
And guess what?
It's gone.
All his money gone. Although I love him, it wasn't funny at the time. But that's also another problem with cashies, right?
And another reason people may feel they don't have enough cash is if they haven't put aside enough cash to pay for their GST or their tax bill,
or the super.
They may have thought, I've got lots of money in the bank, I'll go and buy something for the business, a new piece of furniture, a new computer, and they go and buy it thinking
trailer.
And just looking at the cash in the bank thinking, great. And then they've forgotten that they've got to pay the ATO money. And so always put money aside, weekly if you can, for those bills.
That someone, or was it in a book that I read, or someone said that take a third of that money that you get paid, so when your clients pay you, take a third of that money and put it in another bank account. And then that way, that's the tax money that you pay to the government, or your super that you got to pay to the staff, or even workers' comp or whatever. And that should generally keep you well covered. But the problem is, right, if you're low on cash, to build up that cash takes a while. So you're always robbing Peter to pay Paul, aren't you? You're always robbing out of that account, aren't you?
Once you've got into that situation, it's very
difficult.
How
do you get out of that situation, do you reckon?
It's very difficult to get out of it. You can enter into arrangements with the ATO to pay monthly, but then once you start that, it usually ends up being a bit of a vicious
Do you find that people don't often know how much they owe the ATO?
Also possible, yes. Also possible.
Yeah.
So always keep that in mind. You've got to keep money aside for
How do you find out how much you owe the ATO?
You can.
If you've got a tax debt, how do you know?
You can log into your account, if you want to call it, at the
What
ATO.
if your accountant's got the account and you don't?
You have to ask them. Well, you can always log into your own.
You should be able to always log into your own. It's probably good practice to do that, isn't it?
Yes. As I was talking before, saying you use RAM.
Oh God, the RAM,
which is
it's not a truck, is it?
I can never remember what it stands for.
Random access.
Don't ask me. I have to look every time. I have to look it up. But it's the way of accessing your account in the ATO.
In the ATO,
system.
I know it's a little complicated to get there.
Yeah.
But once you have it, then you can just always, I have mine where I could just click in it and it just comes up and I can look into each of the accounts. However, if you don't know how much you owe the ATO, and this goes back to those good figures, right? So yes. Clarity in numbers is such a key thing. So if you know how much your sales are, you know how much profit you should be making, like your gross profit margin. So if your accounts are set up correctly in your profit and loss, you should be able to see what your gross profit margin is, and then what's left over is for your expenses, right? So gross profit margin is all your materials or your things that cost you to do business. So if you're a service business, like this podcast business, I guess, is you've got all your computer and software expenses that help you run that business. You need that to make money, right?
And if you've got staff, it would also be the staff wages.
Your staff or your subcontractors, right? And then whatever's left after that is called gross profit. And it's really important that you get your bookkeeper or your accountant to set that up correctly for your industry. And then what's left is left for your expenses, right? So the other thing that in that clarity of numbers that is missing off a profit and loss, or a P&L as we call it, what else is missing off of that? That you can't, that aren't.
You won't see any lease expenses for vehicles and things like that.
Yes, so your vehicles often aren't on the profit and loss, right? So you might be paying, say, $1,200 a month for your vehicle lease, but that's not sitting on your P&L. That is sitting on your balance sheet again.
Yes,
which is a whole nother
Yeah.
different click, a
We're
different
getting
page.
too complicated, Crystal.
Too complicated. Okay. But anyway, just to remember that what's not showing on your P&L,
Yes.
because your P&L might say you've made $10,000
Yes.
that month,
Yeah.
but what's not been taken out is your motor vehicle lease, any drawings that you might have taken out, any cashes that you have taken out, and what's the other one that's always on there? On your,
Go back through them again.
you've got your vehicle,
Yes.
you've got
Drawings.
your drawings, your cashies, obviously, that
Yeah,
doesn't
they're not
show
bad.
anywhere. What else is on your balance sheet?
Well, you'd have the ATO, the amount you owe.
Yeah, you've
for
got the
your GST.
ATO debt on there as well. But yeah, so they are the things that you just need to make sure. So you can get your accountant to actually add that to the bottom of your P&L. It sort of sits at the bottom so you could keep a track of that. And I guess your ATO debt shows on there too, doesn't it?
Yep.
If it's been calculated properly.
Yep. Something that you should think about is once you've got your figures right, you should look to see if you are actually charging enough for your services. You may be undercharging.
Yeah, you may not be
But you
making a
can't
profit.
look at that until you've got your figures up to date. But
Yeah.
then maybe you're not charging enough. Maybe you're not making a profit. Maybe your gross margin is too small or zero. So
Well,
that's
I
an
had-
important thing to look at.
That's exactly a very good point, because I did have a client a few years ago now, 3-4 years ago, and they had the same issue. He said, I don't know where my money is. Same thing again, right? And I said, okay, well, let's work out. And then we got his P&L sorted out, right? So he got everything in there correctly. Wasn't too bad, but we just had to sort of massage a little bit. And also invoicing for that month when you're paying all your expenses for that month is a good idea as well. So then you're comparing your expenses with the actual revenue that's coming in for that month.
Yeah.
So it matches. I think
Yes.
that's important.
Yes.
And then what ended up happening was we looked at it and we said, well, you're not making a profit. That's
Yeah.
why there is no money. And then we realized that exactly what you're saying is that he was bundling up the services that he was offering. So he would say for this particular service, it was, whatever it was. But the staff were never actually checked on how long they took to do that particular job. So they often were taking too long. And so he was losing money on that service.
Yeah, you have to bill for every single minute
hour.
that those
So
staff are
that's a
working.
big one. So
Yeah,
if you're
and-
not billing right?
And you would know that as being part of a trades business.
As part of the
well.
trades business
and
we've
you
got,
have to, for your admin staff, you have to bill those hours out to the jobs. So the customer has to pay for it. If you forget about your admin costs and other costs, then you're not charging sufficient for your services. So
Yeah, and that was a bit of a shock because he
Yes.
thought he was he actually thought his things were too expensive. So when we worked out that your billable hours were actually even if the staff worked a bit faster in that, he would have at best broken even.
Yeah.
So he was way, way, way undercharging for his service.
And don't run the risk of thinking that more sales is necessarily going to mean more profit.
No.
It may not.
What do they say? Sales is revenue or sales is vanity?
Sales is vanity, yes. Cash flow is
Reality.
Reality, yeah. Excuse me.
Yeah, cash flow is reality and
But sales are
is
certainly
vanity.
vanity because everybody talks about sales.
I know.
Everybody talks about sales. How are your sales? How well are you doing? You might not be making any money at the end of the day.
Yeah, so
it's
true.
not how many sales or how much. It's are those individual sales
Making you a profit.
Money, yes, is the important thing.
So again, it comes back to that clarity in
Yes.
understanding your
Yes.
numbers again.
Exactly.
And that doesn't come easy. If your numbers aren't accurate or you can't
no.
read anything accurate, you just don't know. And so you are looking at the bank account and you're not really knowing what's going
There's
on.
so
and
many
that's
people,
stressful.
although we've talked a lot about it, so many people of my clients, people I know, just look at their bank account. In fact, I can even catch myself doing it at times, just looking at how much money's in the bank. That's not what it's all about. How much money is going to be coming in? Have you billed a big job,
Yeah.
last week? There might be hundreds of thousands of dollars coming in, still owed to you. don't forget about those.
Yeah.
And something else to look at your expenses.
What about people that don't invoice in a timely manner? I come across this a lot.
Yes, well, they're the people who are saying, I'm feeling as though I'm working
Their
hard and there's no money in the bank. Where is it?
Because the customer hasn't got the bill yet to pay,
Right.
the invoice yet to pay, so
Exactly.
therefore you are cash short because you
Right.
haven't got that money in that you've already paid for the labour or the services.
And there's so
for.
many apps these days where you can collect the money straight away.
So you could have invoiced timely,
Yes.
but then the customer hasn't paid you, and that affects your cash flow
That does.
badly as well.
Again, though, there's apps that you can use where some of the trades that I know now, they go to the customer, they clean the windows or whatever they're doing,
Yeah.
and before they leave, here you go, credit card number, tick, 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 tap, click,
Yeah.
money's
Yes, it's
in the bank.
easy now to collect money on at the time, isn't
Yes.
it? But if you're not checking how many invoices haven't been paid, right?
Yes.
How do you know? So, and also then how do you know how old they are? And how often do you check them? Because I bumped into a person once at a networking
Really?
thing. Yes.
Okay.
Once. One networking thing.
Okay. Yep.
Yep. And we were chatting about chasing up money or whatever it was, and he was saying, I often forget to invoice. And I said, no way. And he goes, and I said, how much do you reckon you don't invoice a month, right? And he was a fairly sizable business. He goes, I'm thinking, and he's guessing, he goes, I think it's around $20,000 a month, but it could be probably closer to 30 or 40. And I go, no way. So I said, you're giving away $30,000 to $40,000 of money that you've done per month just because you didn't have the time to invoice.
Yeah.
He goes, yeah, I'm really embarrassed about that.
The other thing is you can charge people up front a deposit.
Oh, yeah,
if you're doing a big job for
deposits
them.
are good.
In fact, as a bookkeeper, I changed my invoicing to invoice people in advance for the month, not in arrears. I moved to fixed pricing, not hourly, so I could do that.
Yes, and you could collect the money through direct debit as well, couldn't
Exactly.
you? Especially for
And
service
then there's
business,
that
that's a
app
great thing.
that I use that collects the money for me.
Yeah.
So, and I don't have to worry about all of that.
No.
And that is available to
But
any
that's a whole
business.
topic for another day, isn't it?
It
How
is.
to
It is.
collect
We're going
money
to talk
and
about
stuff that
apps as well, aren't we?
Yeah.
At some
But that
point.
is something that can really affect your cash flow. So, and sometimes we make invoicing really complicated, right? So,
Yeah, true.
if we don't have a good job management system to collect the information, or you don't have admin helping you with the invoice, so then you've got to sit down, you've got to add up all the timesheets or the hours that you've done on the job. You've then got to find all the materials, all the other contracting services that you might have used, whether you're a service business or a trade business. And then you're putting all of that onto the invoice, and then you're in the back of your head, oh, yeah, that's why we did some extra work and that, or we did extra hours on that. And then you're adding all that in. So it complicates it, right, because it's all in your head,
Yes.
right? So no one can help you invoice, right,
Not if
number
it's in your
one.
head, no.
And then when you get home at night, you're going, you're going to need at least 2 or 3 hours to invoice, and you just don't
tired.
feel motivated, do
No.
you?
No.
So you avoid it, or you procrastinate around
Exactly.
it, or you put it off, and then before you know it, you're 2 weeks, 3 weeks behind, and they're chasing you for the invoice.
Yes.
That's another story for
Another day.
another day.
Something that's sprung to mind is people often pay wages weekly. They pay on the Monday after the Friday.
Oh yeah,
Why not pay staff fortnightly, which some of my clients
yeah,
do?
we do. We pay fortnightly.
You've automatically got another 7 days worth of cash in the
Yeah.
bank. And don't pay them immediately on the Monday. Pay them on the Wednesday.
Yeah.
So it's a little bit more cash that you've got
Well,
in
you've
the
got
bank.
time for more money to come in from clients,
Exactly.
right?
So it's just a tip. It's difficult to change once you've already started, but it's not
Yeah.
impossible. You'd have to get the
And also,
agreement
you
of
could
the
run
staff.
accounts, can't you? If you spend a lot of money at a particular wholesaler or supplier, you could ask them for a monthly account. So then you just
True.
pay that at the end of the month. So then that gives you a month to collect the
Yeah.
money in from your clients
Yep.
as well. So then that
Yes.
That gives you an extra
something
30 days, maybe.
Never ceases to amaze me is, I think it's TLE. They allow people.
TLE, they're the
60
electrical
days.
contractors?
Yes, 60 days. I think they don't have to pay
For
the bill.
60 days?
60 days.
Wow,
60
that's good
days.
terms, isn't it?
It's good terms, yeah. So if you're a tradie or electrical contractor,
But then you've got to watch out you don't spend
then
that
you've
money,
got to be
right?
careful that you don't spend the money beforehand. True. But it
Yeah.
helps with your cash flow.
That could definitely help with your cash
I just
flow.
can't believe they
They
give
offer
them-
that, especially in today's things.
I
That must
know.
cost them a lot of money too, right?
I know. They must be making a lot of money.
Yeah.
But yeah. So
All right. So we've
Right.
spoken so much about that. And I think we've also got talking about that we've spoken a lot about being profit on paper but not having the money in the bank. So there's a
Yeah.
variety of reasons there,
Yeah.
right, which
Yeah.
we've spoken
Yeah.
about.
Yeah.
What would be the first number to check, do you reckon?
I would check my net profit, to be honest, if it was me.
Yeah.
That's what I would be checking, but not that alone.
I think for me, what I would check first is to make sure my zero is accurate, so that my P&L is
Yes,
accurate,
Yeah.
and
That's
that
not just one number, though. That's lots of numbers.
Yeah. But if I would just glance through it and then make sure that it's accurate, because then I can look at the net profit and go, I'm feeling a little more.
Something that I was just thinking
Comfortable.
about, Xero particularly, and QuickBooks, they have now got some great dashboards.
Those new dashboards.
Yeah. I mean, you log in, and it's immediately got profit,
Yes.
revenue, expenses.
How much is outstanding?
Yeah, it's really good,
Yeah.
but your figures have to be up to date
And accurate.
and accurate. Yes,
And showing those cashies.
and you have
You
to
got
be,
that
we
word
have
again.
to be conforming to
Also,
the rules.
We talked about that margin shrinking, so that's your profit margin on what you're charging. So we have talked a bit about that, and I feel that wages have gone up, cost of living and everything's gone up. So you probably find everything's gone up below the line, so to speak.
Yes.
And maybe your price that you're selling at is not going up at the same level as what you're... So you could be making less without you realising it as well.
Yep.
And that, if you add up, if you're doing $100,000 worth of sales and you're 10%, your costs are 10% more, that's a lot, right?
Yes.
So that could be quietly eating away at your margins. Is there anything else that could eat away at your
Something-
margins?
Subscriptions that you don't need to pay anymore.
Ah, yes.
Is what I would say. And
That's a
something-
rabbit hole, isn't it?
Something I've looked at myself recently. There are some subscriptions are free or included. For example, ChatGPT. I was using ChatGPT. Besides the fact I got a little bit annoyed with him when he gave me the wrong answer. I've gone over to Copilot. It's free with Microsoft 365.
You're not sponsoring these people, are you?
No. Maybe we should think about that.
Oh, God.
It's almost as good, but I must admit, not quite as good.
No.
But I don't have to pay $22 a month for it.
Yeah,
It's
fair
the
enough.
same with Zoom and Google Meet.
Yeah.
Google Meet is free if you only have one person that you're talking
Yep.
to, for as long as you like. Zoom, you're
But
paying
if you
for.
use
So-
those subscriptions a lot, then it's worthwhile paying for them in your
True.
business, right?
Yes.
So, like for me, those
Yeah.
ones are really
Yeah.
important.
Yeah.
However, I'm thinking along the subscriptions that you've paid for that you haven't actually used for a long time, but you've
should.
forgotten they're even there, right?
Yes,
So it's
exactly.
probably good to check your bank statements and your when you are doing your reconciling, just check to see if there's anything there
Yeah.
that could be eroding your profit margins
Yes.
because you actually don't need them anymore. Like
Yeah.
there's so many things, even like Microsoft versus Google, sheets and docs and
Yeah,
stuff.
yeah.
You might be paying a Microsoft thing. You may need it, or you may not need it. And
Or Adobe's another one.
Adobe, yeah, exactly.
Not a fan of
And then they also put their subscriptions up as well, or you've got to
Yes,
go to
they
that
do.
next level and stuff.
sometimes
So it's really important to keep those under
sometimes it's
control.
really difficult to cancel them. Well, they all make it difficult to cancel them.
Oh,
It's not impossible, but it's usually very difficult to find that little
I
button
know,
that says
and it's hidden.
cancel.
Have you? You've got to
And then you
go
have to
to
confirm
ChatGPT
it.
to ask it how do I cancel this account?
True.
So you wish you had the paid version.
So yeah,
right?
you should be looking at all your expenses. You should look at to see, do I still need to pay for those things?
So just we're coming into
Round
the
circle.
runway, I guess, sort of just about to land. Why do you think business owners don't like to check their numbers?
Well, they're frightened of what they're going. They don't understand them,
Yeah,
and they're frightened of the answer, or they may not be up to date, or they may be inaccurate. So all of those things,
Yeah.
I think it's more not understanding the numbers.
yeah.
It's more education. So
I have to say that it took me a long time to learn it. It really did. There is a great book called, what was it called? Profit First.
yes,
I think it's Rowan Crabtree, I think his name is. But he talks a lot about how to understand those numbers, and he really does use layman's terms. But I remember, when your accountant starts talking about debit and credits and balance sheets and P&Ls and all those words you're not used to hearing, and if you don't understand what you're looking at, it's really hard to go looking at it.
Yep.
You then go off your bank account, don't you? So it's a normal response because you just don't know how to read it or look at it or to even understand it, and it does take business owners a little while to get their heads around it.
So
and
that's why they should reach out.
reach out,
Reach out.
yeah, or reach out to anybody, right,
Yeah,
who understands
anybody,
it, just
a
to help you
colleague
there. Yeah.
often can help.
So busy is activity,
Yeah.
right? Profit is outcome.
Yes.
Revenue is vanity.
Right.
We've said that before.
Yes. What was the next bit we forgot?
Cash is reality.
Cash is reality.
It's
There
a
you
really
go.
good little saying.
Yep.
And I often catch myself saying, "Whoa, I wonder how much sales they did," or "What are my sales this month?" But that is vanity, because if you say, "Oh, we do $2 million worth of sales,"
Yeah.
or whatever it is, it makes you feel good. And yes, it's an indication that your business is doing good. But how much of that cash is reality that you're keeping as profit
Yeah.
in the business, and that's
Exactly.
probably the most important thing.
Exactly.
Any last words, Kay, on this topic?
I think we've probably said it all. As I said, I think the main thing is reach out to anybody if you don't understand your
Yeah,
numbers.
don't be shy, don't be embarrassed.
Make sure you
We all
look at your
started
numbers,
there.
keep them up to date, and above all, invoice people promptly.
And check your margins.
Yes.
And no cashies.
We need to come up with a different word for that. Anyway,
Alrighty,
that's
we'll see you on the next one.
Yes.
Thanks for listening.